Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to ask the question: what is the content? What is the product? What actually brings you joy from Dungeons and Dragons? Okay, so before we go a step further, I'm going to warn you there are spoilers in this content for the Batman 2022, Matt Reeves' Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman, Zoe Kravitz's Batman, the one that's coming out this week. It's going to drop, I think it drops this Friday. Very excited about it. All right. Now, wait, how does Scott Garibay have spoilers for a movie that releases on Friday? I get, I'm not big enough to get screeners or anything, right? So here's how. So I have listened to non-spoiler reviews from Grace Williams, Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman, and Black Nerd. Okay, all fantastic channels right here on YouTube. They're all actually, I don't want to put the word fantastic next to Chris Stuckman. I do enjoy Jeremy Johns. Grace Randolph is the best reviewer on the planet. Black Nerd is delightful. I wish he was actually still on YouTube for realsies rather than on Twitch and ducks over to YouTube to pull people to Twitch. But this is where we're at. And so those four people, they're the people I go to when I want a review of a movie. And I go to Chris Stuckman. He's almost like my anti-reviewer. Like, I really dislike his content. But I gotta admit, I listen to it. It's interesting. All right. Okay, so these guys have been talking a lot about Batman. And so, get this. Here's what I figured out. And actually, they've all said it's great. Every single one of them said it's great, which I'm thrilled at, right? So here's the thing. My enjoyment of the Batman 2022 has already started. Now, I already knew this about movies before because one of the things I would do is I would go, so a movie would be coming up, and a movie I'm looking forward to. A movie would be coming up. It was a movie that I was definitely looking forward to. And so what I would do is I would go over and I would see if Grace had a review of it up before the movie. And if she had a good review of the movie up, I was like, great. And then I would not watch it. And then I would go see the movie. And literally, as I drove home from the movie, if I didn't see it with my family, if I was with my family, I would just, discuss it with them. But what I would do is I would literally go, often I'll go see movies by myself, or I'll go with my brother, and then we drive off in separate cars, right? And so basically, the moment the movie is done, I'm like, okay, that's the Sunday. Now the cherry on top is Grace's comments, right? And it's like I'm done with the film, right? And then I run out the door, and go to drive home. And on the way home, Grace gives me like 20, 30, 40 minutes of content and says, I thought this and I thought that. I'm actually a patron of Grace. I give her money every month in one of these like Patreon programs. It's not Patreon, but it's like just like it, right? So I actually can talk to her, and I've talked to her about 6 times through comments on Twitter or through live chats and all kinds of things. So, but I really don't have a consistent conversation with her, right? But I really feel like I'm talking with her, right? And her review after the movie, right, is part of the movie. And if I don't get her take on it, I'm not sure I've even seen it. I'm like, I haven't had the full experience here. Now on Batman, right, I'm getting these non-spoiler reviews beforehand, which definitely contain spoilers. That's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. Like, I don't think they intended it, but you can't really discuss things without spoilers. That's why I give a full spoiler warning. Like, once you're done, you're like, Scott, there was really no spoilers in this. But I don't want to trick people, and I think they're subconsciously tricking people. I think they're doing non-spoiler reviews, but there's a lot of spoilers in these reviews. So, but the thing is, with the Batman, at this point, I'm enjoying these pre-reviews. I'm going to enjoy the movie. I'm going to enjoy, going to Miller's Ale House and talking through it with my brother. And I'm going to enjoy talking it through with my church, with like that one church dude who actually is a real, comic book fan. And I'm going to enjoy, and then I'm going to enjoy watching all the spoiler reviews from everybody I just heard, right? Except Stuckman, he's he's kind of lazy and doesn't do spoiler reviews. In my humble opinion, I really don't like that guy. I don't like that he has twice as many, like Grace Randolph. Like I used to think, I was like, wow, I've heard that, women aren't treated as well as men. Like, Grace Randolph and Chris Stuckman is like scientific proof. Like, she works twice as hard as him and has half his subs. It drives me crazy. It's so aggravating to me. He literally doesn't even want to be a movie reviewer. He wants to be a movie director, and he has put out like 3 crap films, and he's bringing another one out, and all of his videos contain Kickstarter stuff. I really don't like Chris Stuckman. Sorry. All right. So basically, here's the issue, right? I've enjoyed all of these reviews, even Chris Stuckman's. Okay. I'm going to enjoy the movie. I'm going to enjoy talking about the movie. Then I'm going to enjoy the spoiler reviews. D&D is the same. The Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, when you get a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition book, what is the enjoyment, right? It's Nerd Immersion talking about it for three weeks before it comes out. It's people who hate it talking about it for 3 weeks before it comes out. It's who hate, not just hate the next book, but hate all 5e books that you can reliably like, and they'll be like, I don't like this, I don't like that, right? And I listen to some of them because some of them have excellent coverage on TTPRGs overall, right? And also, there's a lot of people who hate 5e who are really wise and intelligent, right? Now, that's odd, right? Like, because they should, if they're wise, they should like it. But it's just a reality. Like, you find wise people on both sides of, of the fence, right? So, it really is just fascinating. I'm so fascinated by this. So the reality is, the product of Dungeons & Dragons is not just a book. It's everybody talking about the book before it hits. It's the book when you read it, right? It's the book when you play it. It's the comments that hate it. It's the comments that love it, okay? It's seeing it on the shelf when you go into an FLGS, seeing where it's placed, how many are there, hearing, the FLGS guy tell you that it's sold out, right? Or that there's, that he bought 12 copies and there's 11 on there and you're 6 months past, right? Actually, that doesn't happen for me for 5e books, but I've heard some, people who hate 5e are like, they're not selling, whatever, like there's different data points. We collect data as we can, right? So I really just find this really fascinating. And I think this is, and here's the thing, this is new. This is so new. This really hasn't happened before. We've never been in a position where the product is not the product. It's everything that surrounds it. And here's the last thing I'm going to say. So I am super hyped about this new movie. And I really am thankful to Chris Stuckman and to Grace Randolph and to, even though I dislike his channel, I have to thank him because I enjoyed listening to his review, right? Even hearing, like subpar commentary, right? Like, but he has his place, right? Yeah. So anyway, I really enjoy, Black Nerd's commentary, Jeremy John's commentary. Jeremy John said something brilliant. I couldn't believe it. He's like, there's 3 Batman. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? There's 3 Batman. There's 2 Batman. There's Bruce Wayne and there's Batman, right? What are you talking about, this 3rd Batman, right? And he's like, Master Bruce. And I'm like, Master Bruce? And then, like, it just snapped in my mind. And I was like, he's right. There's Batman who has the cowl off and Alfred's helping him in the Batcave. And that person is different than the Batman projecting for the villains, and is very different than Bruce Wayne projecting for Gothamites. I was like, that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. Like, and Jeremy Johns just had this really deep insight about Batman, right? And that's the key too. And that's one of the reasons why I listen to people who hate 5e and people who love 5e, because everybody's bringing something to it, right? Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And so the product is the haters and the lovers and the books and the reading and where it sits in the FLGS and when it hits the table and reviews of it a year later, like level XP to 3, like saying, hey, I have a different opinion of Strixhaven. I did, and like Or even WebDM coming out and saying, here's a second review of Ravnica because I didn't get it the first time, right? Like, it really, and so the product is not just the product, it's all of this, right? And one of the things that I have now identified is I want to be part of, I'm striving to be part of Dungeons and Dragons, to make Dungeons and Dragons richer for people, the same way Grace makes every movie she does a review for richer for me. It's important, right? And so I just want us to think about this. Excuse me. I want us to think about this idea of what is the product when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons. It's not just the books anymore, and I think this is a really new reality, which I think is very, very interesting. All that's my opinion. What do you think? What do you think is the product? What do you think is the content? How can I be Grace Randolph for Dungeons and Dragons? How can I make Dungeons and Dragons better for everyone who listens to my content and be an extension of Dungeons and Dragons joy? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium. Jed Eckert.